wish all the students of class 3 a very good morning. Today we will start a new chapter, that is chapter 8, some properties of water. So all of you open your science book, innovative science book, go to page number 79. In this chapter we will learn about the properties of water and all the different kinds of characteristics about the water. So as we all know that most of the earth is covered by water. Water is very essential for all the living things on the earth, whether it is plants, animals or human beings. We need water to drink, wash and cook. We also need water to water the fields and to use in factories. Properties of water. Now water is in its common form, that we all know that water is in liquid form and it flows from a higher level to a lower level. Water has the following properties. What are those properties? The water is colorless. First point is that water is colorless. It do not have any color of its own. When we see the color of the water or the pond or river blue in color, it reflects the color of the sky. Water do not have any color of its own. Next point is it do not have any taste. It gives the taste of the substances dissolved in it. Different squashes, lemonades, etc. are made using water. When we add lemon into the water changes taste and becomes sour. If we add sugar, it will taste sweet. If we will add salt, it will taste salty. Next point is water has no smell of its own. Water do not have any kind of smell of its own. Water has no shape of its own. Being a liquid, water takes the shape of the container in it is poured into. As the state of the water is in liquid form, in whatever container you will pour it, it will take the shape of that particular container for that time being. Water exists in all three states in nature. Naturally, we find water in all the three states, that is liquid, ice and vapor. Solid form is ice, solid form of water is ice, liquid form of water is water, and the steam or vapor form of water is the gaseous states of water. It can change from one state to another very easily. If we will freeze the water in the refrigerator, it will change into ice. If we will pour the water into a bowl and if we will boil it, it will change into the steam. It is very easily changeable from one state to another. Water has the property to dissolve many substances in it. It can dissolve more substances in it than any other liquid. This particular reason that water can dissolve almost most of the substances can be dissolved into the water rather than any kind of other liquid. So water is known as universal solvent because of this reason. This is very important point, all of you underline it, that water is called universal solvent. Why is it called universal solvent? Because it can dissolve almost many of the things, soluble things can be dissolved in water rather than in any kind of other liquids. Now go to the next page, page number 80. Here are some experiment in the activity time boxes. If you want, you can do it in your house with the help of your parent or tuition teacher or your elder brother or sister. Otherwise, these experiments, no question will come from there. You will have to read the chapters only. Experiments, you can do it for your own knowledge. Now over here we will read from below the box. See, the water dissolves a large number of solids in it like sugar, salt, milk powder, soap, etc. Water can dissolve huge amount of these substances in it. When a solid dissolves in a liquid, it disappears. This liquid is called a solution. All of you underline it. What is a solution? When do we call a solution, water a solution? Water becomes a solution when a solid dissolves completely into that liquid and it disappears. That means like when we drink sugar and salt water, that is called saline water. When we drink that, we mixes the water with the salt and sugar, and we stir it until it dissolves completely and the water becomes totally dissolved into that solution of sugar and salt. So here is a fill in the blanks, that water takes the shape of the container in it is poured into. Fill in the blanks number 2. Water has a property to dissolve many substances in it. Water is called a universal solvent. When a solid is dissolved into a liquid, it disappears. This liquid is called a solution. The substances that do not dissolve in the water are called insoluble substances. Now go to the next page, that is page number 81. Here we will read about conditions that helps in making of a solution. Small particles of a solid dissolve faster than large ones. If you will try to dissolve a huge piece of sugar cube into the water, it will take more time than the smaller cubes of sugar that we use in our daily basis life for making teas or any kind of sweet dishes. It will dissolve faster because it is smaller in size, and it will dissolve faster. Next is stirring helps in dissolving a solid into a liquid faster. If we will keep on stirring the liquid along with the solid inside it with the help of a spoon, it will dissolve faster than to just leave it inside the water like that. Next point is heating helps in dissolving the solid faster. If we will heat the water and the sugar, it will dissolve much more faster than it dissolves in a normal room temperature or cold water. If we will heat the water, it will dissolve very fast. So the three things that helps in dissolving the solid into a liquid faster is that to heat the water, it will help in dissolving faster. Next is to stir the solid into the liquid until it dissolves, and the third point is that smaller particles will dissolve more faster than the larger one. Now go to the next page, page number 82. Here we will learn about floating and sinking items. Now this experiment you can do, it is very easy. You can bring a bowl of water and take one pencil, one spoon, one coin, eraser, your sharpener, and you can do this experiment with these items. Do not use any electronic items in the water. Is on top of a liquid, it is said to be floating. Now what is floating? When something that do not sink into the water, do not goes below the water level, it is called floating object, which keep. On the other hand, if something moves down to the bottom of the container having liquid, it is said to be sinking. Very important, you must read this paragraph carefully, that is floating and sinking. Now fill a small tub with water, gather a few, no need to fill a small tub, you can do with the experiment in a bowl of water. Gather a few materials from around your house like a paper clip, coin, spoon, fruits, wooden blocks, etc. Which objects, instead of wooden blocks you can use pencil, because pencil is made up of wood, you can use that. Which objects do you think will sink, or which object will float? When you will put those objects one, you will realize that some of the items are going sinking below and some are floating above. Those objects which are floating above is called floating objects, and those that have gone down are called sinking objects. The bigger objects will sink, the smaller objects will float. It is not always like that. depends upon the weight of that object. Maybe a coin looks very smaller than that wooden cube, but in terms of weight, the coin is much more weightier than the wood. That's why the coin will sink, but the wood will not sink despite of being bigger in size. Floating object and which one is sinking object. It seems logical that the bigger object should sink while smaller objects float, but this isn't always true. Just like how I said, the weight depends on which it will float or it will sink, not on the size of the object. The floating and sinking mechanism depends on the weight of the object, neither on the nor on the size of the object. Now here you will see a fun fact box and a time to summarize box in the next page. You will go through these two boxes because I will give you questions from here. So this is a small chapter. In the next class I will provide you all the objective question answers and the broad question answers. Hope you will understand the chapter well after reading it on your own. Thank you, class.